Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. I am super excited and so thankful that I have my dear friend Stephanie Bowman back on the show, and she's going to share why I'm extra thankful about that. She is the queen bee at One Heart for Women and Children, and they have a lot going on with that organization, which she's going to share about. And then she just went through some personal stuff, and by personal I mean wow, in the news kind of stuff. And we're so happy you're here, Stephanie, and what a blessing. How are you doing, darling?
I'm doing so good. I'll tell you. Thank you. I just want to say thank you. I'm really honored and grateful, not only for our friendship, but that you will allow me to come on and just share a little bit, not only about what's happening at One Heart, what could have been so tragic, also with some just amazing, amazing opportunities that we have right now. And we need help.
We need help. All right, so let's take a deep dive in a minute. But for those people who don't know about One Heart, tell them a little bit about you and how One Heart came into fruition.
Absolutely. So I'm 26 years clean and sober after being homeless and having to forage for food with my children. 8 years after that, started One Heart for Women and Children. We help just as many men as we do women and children. That's always a question people have. But in the beginning, it was really solely for women and children to be able to help get the resources quickly that were needed in times of transition. We grew, each month, each year. We're 16 and a half years later right now. Yeah, it's crazy
That's
being able to
crazy.
go from helping 56 women the first month to we helped over 24,000 people last month with food and other resources.
24,000?
Yep. Yep.
How, like, explain, I guess, and thanks for sharing your personal journey. I always think that's so important for the audience to understand why you're connected to what you do. And so being able to share that and having the courage to share that, I appreciate. Let's go
Thank
back to 24,000. Where does this tell us about the need? What needs are being met? How does somebody come to One Heart? How are you reaching the 24,000? And then we can also start to dive into what happened and then the capital campaign.
Absolutely. So we're all really word of mouth, and if somebody's asking for assistance, there's what we're tagged a lot on social media. Somebody needs food or clothes, or somebody had just relocated to Orlando, Florida, and they have some of those immediate needs. One Heart for Women and Children is there to help them with those immediate needs, and then we get them busy. Whoever that person is coming or family coming into just really asking some of those questions. How did you end up here? Where are you looking to get? Do you need any other resources? I can say that 98% of the people that make their way to us or that we go out and deliver things to, food, fresh, healthy food is the number one need. So we more than 51% of the food that we share with our community is it's fresh, healthy food. And how, it's like, how do we do that? That when I think of the number, like that number is lower than some of the other people that come and just get some snack items, or somebody that just comes by for the very first time. That's 24,000. Actually, it's a little over 24,000 people that really, really would not have had food on their table for their family or for themselves if they would not have had the help from One Heart. We don't want to be a forever pantry. We don't want anybody to come to One Heart forever, right? We want to help
Right.
them transition them to where they are, to where, so they're fully self-supporting again, or whether it's a two-income family that's now just gone from one income, and now it's, do I pay my mortgage, or do I buy food?
Right.
We want to be able to help with that. But in the meantime, not just as a handout, it's a hand up. Like, how can we help you help yourself to be able to get to that next place?
So what's that look like? Because I feel like that's what most people would want, right? You don't want to admit that you're in that place, or you don't. Maybe you've never been in that place before. The stats are kind of scary about how many first time people are actually going to food pantries and having to ask for help. And so, what is the support behind that? Because that 24,000 families is a lot. So, Explain a little bit about how you do it. Do you deliver? Do they come to you? Do you get support from the community? Because honestly, it seems like that is a Herculean task to accomplish each month.
Absolutely. And first, I do want to say, like, I don't think about the numbers a whole lot until I go in and do our reports at the end of the month. And then I'm like, whoa, my mind is blown. Like, how did we just make that happen? And we
Right.
make it happen because of our community. So with our community partners, with our donors, we do not have any federal grants. All of our funding comes in, really, most of it comes in through social media and opportunities like this to be able to share, what's happening, what we're doing, how we need support. And we keep our expenses really, really low. We're almost 100% volunteer based. We have over
Wow.
400 volunteers with us every single month. We have a mobile food distribution where we're serving 40 to 70,000 pounds of food outside of One Heart once a month. And Second Harvest Food Bank is an amazing partner that helps with that. Four Roots helps us with a lot of produce, fresh, healthy produce straight from the farms that we're able to give to the community. And then we have other partners like Trader Joe's and Publix and Walmart and Costco. So each day our truck is just driving around town and it's like, all right, we're going to pick up 5,000 pounds from here and we're going to go shop for 12,000 pounds there. And then it all comes back to One Heart. And we've got an army of volunteers that come in each day. And they're different people each day that come in and just make it all happen as our cars are coming in and out at One Heart. And that'll go into the next part.
I love it. All right. So, and then I finally, old age, remembered where I was going originally with my question, but I'm glad that you shared that because I think people don't realize it's not just, hey, this all happens. You have a whole coordination of an army that you all have to do. So the hand up, the help, talk a little bit about that because I think a lot of times I know that people that are struggling want to figure out how to not be in the situation they're in.
Mhm. Yeah, so we've got some financial literacy. We've got some teams that help with some of that because what most of our first time um, people that come in for the very first time or families that come in for the very first time, it's like, wow, I didn't realize that I didn't have to lose absolutely everything and ended up homeless in order to come receive help. Well, I want to say my prayer is that people don't have to lose everything. But part of what we do is if you have two cars and you can sell a car so that you can help, you can help pay your bills, we teach some of that. Or, you have some other things. Let's go have a big old garage sale. I say let's us, not me, but, teach them that they can do
Yeah.
some of that so that they can still provide and not have to go and find that funding someplace else when they're in that time of trying to figure out, do we sell a car? Do we like whatever that might be? Because a lot of times what we find is that there's things right in our home. Or there's ways that people can liquidate things before they really need to go and find some more of those outside resources. Now, with all that being said, there's a lot of people that find themselves literally, we zero in the bank. They don't have anything that they can go and they can, sell to be able to help their family. So it's like, where do we go where we don't have to, there's not a lot of red tape. And that's
Right.
part of why we don't have any federal funding. We want to be able to make decisions with our board of directors, with our team for a family or families or community, as quick as we can. We're great stewards of our dollars too. It's like every dollar that comes in, we make sure that it's going where it needs to go.
It's amazing. I know that brings me to I'm thinking as you're speaking, I'm thinking, good Lord, what if that accident, which we're going to talk about, had been super tragic? So if you're going to hear the story, you all, and I know you're going to have seen it on the news. I didn't realize it was you until it said there was a caption, and I go, oh my God, that's Stephanie. So tell the people who haven't seen the news or might not put two and two together what happened.
Yeah. So Friday, it was noontime. We were serving the community. We had a lot of people coming in and out. We had a lot of food in the front room for anybody that's been to One Heart. During 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock, we're serving a couple hundred cars, a couple hundred families that come to One Heart. We again don't have really the space to do that, although we space those appointment times out and very strategically make all of that happen. I will say we've never had an accident at One Heart until Friday, and Friday it was literally a near death experience. There were four of us that were walking in the front door of One Heart. We had a client who we call our clients, our neighbors and friends. We had a client, he's a long-term client. He's on a fixed income with his wife. They will probably always need assistance from places like One Heart. Thank goodness he had car insurance. He plowed through the front door of One Heart like it was a freak accident. He put his he did not put the car in park is what happened. He had his foot on the brake. He was talking to his wife. They were making their will that morning, Friday morning, and they pulled into One Heart for food, and they were still in a deep conversation, and he forgot to put it in park, and his foot was on the brake. And one of our volunteers was putting the food boxes in the back of his in the back seat, and he took his foot off of the brake as he turned around. So he didn't even see it happen. He had took his seatbelt off, and he was turned around, and he was helping maneuver some things on the back seat so that they can put a gallon of milk in the back seat. And his foot went off the brake, went on the gas, and went on the gas so fast. We heard somebody, the four of us that were walking in the front door, heard somebody screaming, and the person that was screaming, stop. And so we had all turned around. One of the girls jumped out of the way right in the front doorway. She hit her head on something and then hit the pavement. No broken bones, thank God. There was another girl, the second girl. She was pinned between the door and the truck. And I'll tell you, by the grace of God, like watching the video, it was like somebody pulled her from in between. No broken bones. She's got a sling on, and she's bruised and banged up all the way up her arm. And her arm is what the truck hit, and then she moved it down, and it hit her body. She's no broken bones.
Wow.
She then landed on top of me. I landed on another girl, and my head was this close to the tires that came through the front door, and his foot was still on the gas. So smoke was all coming in the building. His tires, you could hear the screaming of the tires. At that point, the brakes, the gas, something stuck on the gas pedal. And he had taken his foot off the gas pedal, but it was still doing all of this.
Wow.
And I was able, the front tables pinned me on the ground, and I was on top of another girl. And we ended up, again, grace of God, because in the video, like, I don't know how we got out from underneath the table. Maybe adrenaline. I truly believe God. But we were able to move away. I was crawling and then landed on my back. I broke my back and had surgery 7 months ago. And I closed my eyes and just saying a prayer. And then suddenly it was like I came to. There was dust all in the room. The ceiling tiles were coming down. And it was like that moment of clarity. It was like, okay, oh my God, this just happened. Where's my team? Is everybody okay? Was anybody pinned up against the door? And I remember laying on the ground, almost shouting those, it was like all these things spitting out. Grab my phone, call 911, call my husband, call the landlord, and somebody came over and they said, we've got it. We've got you. We've got you. Just rest. Just rest. So I closed my eyes and I was laying. What I didn't know, my team that was looking into part of the front wall that came in. So there was a hole about like this, and my team was looking in to make sure everybody inside was okay. And there were two of us laying there with our eyes closed. And what I heard is my second in command at One Heart screaming, "Oh my God, she can't be dead." And I was like, and I heard that, and I'm like, no, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I'm resting. My eyes are closed. There's dust in the room. I'm okay. We're okay. And by then the ambulance got there, and and police officers and fire department and our neighbors. And Ted, what I want to tell you is that, like, I know we have a lot of love in the community for One Heart and my team. I know that without a shadow of a doubt. When I saw 18 police officers, we didn't need 18. When I saw 17 firefighters and 16 paramedics, five ambulances, like, it was crazy to see the amount of love outside as they were taking four of us away in ambulances. It was just, when I say crazy, like, my heart was so full. And of course, as they're taking me out in the ambulance, I was still, wait, you got to do this and you got to do this.
Well, of course you were.
The police officer said, no, 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 we got you. We got your team. Your team has this. We have you. Let's
I
get in
love
the
it.
ambulance and go.
What a blessing, though. Like, I know that had to be incredibly scary on so many levels. You're worried about yourself, obviously, but you're also concerned about everybody involved. And what a blessing. I definitely feel as you're speaking, there was a beautiful wall of protection around you guys. To have no broken bones, that's a miracle. And your head that close, I mean, it just could have gone in such a different,
Oh,
horrible, tragic way. And so I think those are wake up calls. Those are just a kind reminder of the wonderful love and support that you have, not just here on earth, but you and I are both faith people, but yeah, that's what a blessing. And I'm glad that you shared that, because you know, the media can sometimes not paint it enough. And, until you hear somebody tell their story,
mhm.
you can read it all day long, but when you hear the emotions and the way you describe it and the smells, that brings us all to that place with you. So what a blessing. I mean, a blessing that you shared, and I'm blessed that you're here.
Thank you. I do want to share also the driver. The driver is called every single day checking on us. Like, we're not here to sue him or any of that kind of, any of that kind of stuff. We're all okay. We're all okay. Um, um, and he had he had insurance. We
Yeah.
definitely are raising some money to. We do have some expenses to fix the building, and to buy some of the food that we lost, because we lost over $20,000 worth of food. But in the grand scheme of things, we're all alive. And the driver, I couldn't even
That's
imagine
true.
being the driver and
Um,
and how what he felt.
yeah. I'm sure he continues to feel.
Yeah.
We pray that he gets past that and forgives himself. All right, so tell us about, you're outgrowing. You're looking for, you have land. Tell us all the good stuff about what's coming up and how we can help.
I love it, and thank you for that. Like, my heart just goes pitter patter for this part as well. So somebody's bought some property, and it's not too far from One Heart, and we are really at the tail end. I would say we're 87% the way to our $1 million capital campaign,
Wow.
and we still need $118,000 for literally for the shovel to be put in the grass, and for that to start. So we really, really, really need some help. We, again, $118,000, it seems like, oh my gosh, like, that's a large amount of money. Although, what I love is that, every dollar, right, every dollar
Every
helps us to
single
get there.
one.
Every $1. And it's funny, I have somebody on the board, they're like, quit saying just every $1, like every $1,000. But the truth be told, some people have $10 a month to be able to share. Some people
Correct.
have more, although each time that we give something to a nonprofit organization that's doing things like One Heart for Women and Children, and there's lots of them, right? But every single time, like, every $1 truly does help the mission. It helps further the mission. So $118,000 is what we need. We had somebody that called this morning, and she said, my team, we have a dress down day on Fridays, and we've never thought about adding a jar, or an envelope where everybody has to donate something. And so they're doing that this Friday.
Love
And
it.
Yeah, we've had a couple law firms and a couple, other groups that have done that in the past before COVID. But like, there's so many creative ways to be able to help with fundraisers.
Yes. And I feel like, because, I do a lot of shows and I'm involved in a lot of organizations I support. And one thing people always ask me is, what I don't have necessarily the money. And I go, okay, well, how about the friends you have? How about your circle? How about your boss or your company? And I think we don't think like that. We only think about what we can give. But in reality, it's more than just the check. There's that, and we need that, obviously. We need it to
Mhm.
make it work. But you could have a friend who's got the wealth or got the connections, and it's all about continuing to connect so that you can bring this to fruition. And that's what I encourage people to do. I'd love for you to donate. I'd love for you to donate more than $1, but I would love for you to donate. But I would also like you to introduce people to Stephanie and introduce them to One Heart so that they can see what they do and the passion that they have and the services that they provide are so critical in the community. And I guarantee you, someone who has utilized that service. You wouldn't think you would, because in our minds, we think people on the street, in a tent. It's much bigger and than that. So I can tell you that you have in your back pocket a resource. So figure out who that is or what that is, and reach out to Stephanie. I think just don't get caught up on the $1. Think about just
And I love that what you just said, because it really is. It's the power of the relationships, right?
this.
The power of relationships is so important, and sometimes we don't even realize that, out to dinner or coffee or something with a friend, and we get caught. Like, I want to watch my wording here. What I'm working on is being more intentional with my conversations,
Yes.
and when we really when what I want to ask anybody that's watching, find those 5 people that you're, or one person where you're like, maybe they have a heart to serve, or I want 5 of us or 3 of us to go and volunteer at One Heart for Women and Children. On our website, you can go on. We do team building events for groups. We have volunteer opportunities. We do our mobile food distribution each month, and we need 100 plus volunteers in order to make all of that happen in just a few hours. Like, there's so many different ways to be able to give
Yes, there
and
are.
share our resources, which is time, talents, and dollars.
And before we go, I want to share that we did one of the reasons why I love to do shows with nonprofits, with people who go out and give, is we did a show for Base Camp, and somebody that I knew but didn't know their story was a childhood cancer survivor, and he donated and continues to donate a very nice, kind, generous amount of money
Mhm.
strictly from the show. So if you think you have none of these things, you have no dollar, you have no resources, you have no friends with resources, take this show and share it on your platforms, send it to people. Send the website, which is scrolling across the bottom there. That is something you can do, and it still makes a difference. I promise you it will. So
That,
always a joy to have you on, Miss Stephanie. Go ahead. You have something to wrap
that
up with us?
absolutely, that's the ripple effect, and that's really what One Heart. Like, I think that that's one of the things that probably most um, tells really what we do. It's that making that impact not only in the community, but as we impact one person with something, they go out, they impact somebody, and they impact somebody, and it's the same thing when somebody volunteers at One Heart. That impact,
It's
it's
huge.
massive.
Ripple effect, you all. All right.
Yeah,
I love you. I'm glad you're still here.
me
I
too.
love you to pieces. I love One Heart. You all go to helponeheart.org, which I think is scrolling across the bottom there. Reach out to me, reach out to Stephanie. We'll get you to the people, but think outside of your box of don't have a check I can cut right now. You have a friend, you have a resource, you have abilities. Let's get them across the finish line on the 118,000 that they have to raise for that capital fund. All right, love you to pieces, you guys. We will see you soon. Bye, everybody.